Hey guys, are you ready for an inspiring story about changing your life, selling everything, working together as a couple while traveling full-time? Josh and Ashley did just that 2 years ago, and I am really happy that they want to share their story with us, so let's hear it.
Hi guys, I'm Josh.
And I'm Ashley, and we run the YouTube channel called The Way Away. It's a travel and lifestyle YouTube channel that we've been running for the past 2 years.
Going on year 3 right now.
So in 2016, we decided that the regular 9-to-5 just wasn't cutting it. We were in both jobs that pretty much took over our lives. I worked in hotel hospitality.
And I did set design in Hollywood, and that is basically a minimum 12-hour day, sometimes every day of the week.
So one day I sat down with Josh and said, hey, what do you think about doing 12 countries in 12 months? Staying 1 month in each country and just selling everything.
It took a lot of convincing because I like to be comfortable, but she convinced me and we set out on a huge adventure that leads us to where we are now, 2 years later, going into our 3rd year of doing YouTube full time.
We had to make a plan. We knew 12 countries in 12 months was something we were interested in. So what we did, and what I did to make sure he was on board, was asked him, what countries are you most interested in? And his response was, Europe.
But yeah, basically, I was like, I am totally interested in Europe. We've traveled to Asia before, and I've seen that, obviously not all of it, but I was most interested in Europe. That's part of where a lot of my family's heritage comes from.
Yeah, so we made this list, 12 of the countries we wanted to go to. We put a poster on our wall so that we saw it every single day, and from there, we had to start selling everything. We had 2 cars, so that was the debt we had. Other than that, we were renting, so there wasn't much debt in that area. But we sold our 2 cars, were able to get out of that debt, and by the end had $20,000 to travel Europe for a year.
$20,000, that's a lot. But when you put it in the context of a year of travel abroad, that becomes very little, very quickly. So we decided that we needed to save our money in many different ways. And the way we did that was by doing work stays. We used a couple different services that do that, but basically we traded helping out around someplace, not a business, but just like around someone's house or farm, in exchange for a place to sleep and food to eat. And then from there, we kind of used that as a launching point to explore the areas that we were in.
We definitely downsized when we decided to go traveling. We got rid of everything in our apartment and have 2 carry-on size bags as well as 2 backpacks. So that is what we've been carrying around the world with us for 2 full years. It's not a lot of stuff. I would not say that I'm a minimalist by choice. I do it out of necessity of doing the travel that I want to do. Whereas Josh, on the other hand, would consider himself, in a way, a minimalist.
I would definitely consider myself more minimalist. Just in terms of, I don't like a bunch of stuff around me. That's almost more a design aesthetic than it is minimalism in a sense. But yeah, I definitely subscribe a bit more to having less is just better overall for my health and wealth and all of the above.
And it's not horrible. I would just have probably a few more pairs of shoes and some more clothing.
I would too. We visited almost 40 countries in our lifetime. So the past 2 years have been like 30, 35 or so.
Yeah, Europe makes it very easy to just hop from place to place.
I think our top favorites though would probably vary though. You were gonna say?
Well, Venice is my favorite city. But I love Barcelona as well. Spain is very special to me. But Iceland, I think, is our #1 country.
Overall.
Just because of how magical the landscape is.
It's like another planet.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Ready to go.
working together 24/7 on the road is difficult.
Right.
We are a married couple.
Most times.
We've been married for 11 years, and as normal married couples do, we have our issues, we argue. We also have a business together, the business being YouTube, essentially. And it's difficult.
The only way we can do it is
Right.
by dividing up tasks and having very specific roles.
Yes, and those roles just come naturally.
Yeah.
So Ashley's better at planning and logistics. I'm better at creativity in the sense of like editing and that sort of thing, as well as money management. She would spend all of our money if it were up to her. So we've divided tasks up by just the things that we're naturally more gifted at.
Yeah. We are very opposite people, so our
Extraordinarily so.
strengths and giftings are the opposite. So it kind of makes one whole.
And the whole reason we decided to start our YouTube channel is I needed something to do while we were traveling the world. I couldn't just do a year-long vacation. That sounded extremely boring to me. So I started a travel website with a friend, and I called it The Way Away. That failed. We did very little with it. But at the same time, Ashley started a YouTube channel to share stories with her family back home, and she called it the same dang name.
You're welcome.
So it all kind of worked out. The YouTube thing took off and we just sort of fell into it. 6 months after we started doing it, we had, I think, 500 subscribers, and we're like, whoa, people outside of our family and friends are watching this. This could be a thing. And now a year later, we're at 60-something thousand people who are saying, yes, I want to watch this consistently. That's crazy.
Yeah, our whole goal and dream is just to encourage other people to get out and travel and see the world, as well as show and share other cultures. And that's what we get to do. We get to live our dream together by doing different things. Josh is totally into film, and I love culture and people. And so we found a great way where we can both kind of mix that together. And it's been working out really great. It isn't for everyone.
And it isn't easy. Maybe you
No.
don't want to hear that, but it's work. It's fun.
Yeah.
But it is work, and not everyone wants to hear that. They'd prefer to think of our lives as a vacation sometimes.
Yeah.
But we do get to have crazy, amazing, and awesome experiences, and because of our work, we get to share that with you guys. Right now it's 2018 and our travel plans have changed a little bit in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So the first 2 years we didn't really know what we were doing. We were just out to explore and just kind of discover Europe. And then the second year we even went to Mexico as well as Africa a tiny bit, and then we were also in Turkey and a few other places in the Mediterranean a bit more rather than just mainland Europe. And that was really exciting, but in 2018 we want to dig into the cultures a little bit more. That's one of the main reasons that we like to travel to begin with. We want to experience different cultures, and now with our YouTube channel, we want to share these different cultures. So we're planning to visit 4 continents over the course of a year and live in each place for an extended period of time, using those places as a sort of springboard to get around to other places that are in the same area.
So this would require us to get apartments that are already furnished so that we're not furnishing themselves, but we do plan on still traveling with our 2 bags on our backs and going from place to place with our small amount of stuff. But I think we're really looking forward to it.
One interesting thing about the amount of stuff that we carry right now is it's almost too much. In the terms of we have to carry winter clothes and summer clothes all at the same time, and we're clearly not in all 4 seasons at once. So having a base would be great because we can get all of our heavy bags into one place and then pack a smaller bag for when we go out to make excursions in a way.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. One of the best things about this lifestyle is that I get to be my own boss. Right? So I am theoretically in control of how much money I make and how much free time I have. What that translates to in reality is that I work really hard and currently don't get paid a lot. But I have the ability to move upward in the corporate structure of my own business with my wife. That idea of freedom is so nice. Yes, I work very hard and I don't get as much time to spend in places really enjoying and relaxing as I'd like, but I have the option.
I think one of the worst things about our lifestyle is not being around family all the time. I enjoy family time or relationships, building friendships. It's very difficult to build really close friendships when you're not in a place long term. But in 2018, that's where our plans have changed. We've had to figure out how we can make that happen, and that's why we're wanting to stay longer periods of time in places. So we've seen an issue that we've had, and we've tried to change it. We'll see how 2018 goes.
Something I have on my heart to share about travel is that travel itself is, for me at least, not about a destination or an experience necessarily in terms of like tourism. For me, travel is so necessary because it opens your eyes to the fact that what you know because you grew up in a certain area isn't always true, or at least not 100% true. Cultures around the world do things differently. What you are taught about one thing, it could be totally different from the way it was taught somewhere else, and that doesn't mean that you're wrong or they're wrong. In many cases, sometimes it does. But the fact that people do things differently around the world is kind of mind-blowing, because when you stop for a second to think, whoa, the way I was taught and act isn't the way that everyone was taught and acts. Like, that opens up your mind to so many possibilities of seeing humans around the world as humans just like you, with little difference between yourself other than the cultural divides that we've built up. And that for me is super important, to recognize the fact that our cultural divides do not make us actually different as humans, but simply create this vibrant landscape of what humans can express in their lifetime. And I'm sorry if I'm using big words, but that gets me excited when I think about travel, how it expresses our humanity rather than divides us.
Here's a challenge for you. Start planning a trip. A trip, it doesn't matter. It can be in your own hometown, it can be in a close by city, or it could be across an ocean, but I would say to start planning. I'm the planner of the two of us, and I love being able to look at the different areas that we could go, the different things, as well as figuring out, like, if we're on a budget, how to make it work, how to do it. Travel is not as expensive as you think it is. It's very doable, and it's great for you to get out and not be in your same area, same place all the time, but to just kind of enjoy something for yourself.
Something that I would recommend you do, and I did this before we started leaving on our journeys, was to pack everything I think I would need to live, the basic essentials, into a suitcase and leave it in my bedroom and try and live out of that for a week while at home. I put my bathroom stuff in there, I put my clothes, my underwear, my socks, my shoes, and my computer, and I lived out of a suitcase in my own home for a week before we started traveling. When I did that, I learned what I actually needed, what I didn't need, what I used, and what I didn't use. And that is a really practical, if not a little fun, way to pre-plan for a trip. You might realize that you need a lot less than you do, or you may realize that you need to cut out a bunch of stuff that you think you need, but you can live without. So it is a little bit about letting some things go in some cases, but you'll learn that living out of a bag isn't as scary as it sounds.
Something that we commonly say to our audience is that we hope we encouraged you to get out and travel today. Thank you so much to GoDownsize for having us. Goodbye.
Aren't they just great? I love how fun and genuine they are. And I really like how they're changing their way of traveling and adapting to the changing things in their lives and as their needs change. I'm really excited to see how this new rhythm of slowing down, staying in places longer is going to work out for them in 2018. Make sure to head over to their channel and subscribe and leave them an encouraging comment if you feel like it. Remember, it's not about copying exactly what other people are doing, it's about listening and getting inspired and then seeing what we can all take with us and apply in our own lives. So please let me know down in the comments what's your biggest takeaway from listening to Josh and Ashley's story. I would love to read through it, so let me know, and have a great weekend. Bye.